I'd like us to move on quickly because our time is really running out, and I would like us to look into the recapitalization issue. Still raising some kind of concerns to operators, which I know you're also part of. If we can get this on our television screen for our viewers to just have a glimpse of the recapitalization deadline that was set by the Securities and Exchange Commission. We have the categories of operators and how much they need to move on. Okay, while we're trying to get that on, let's just go through the figures for you. For a broker dealer, it is expected he or she, or the company rather, is expected to recapitalize from 70 million naira to 300 million naira. That's over the figures actually over 400% in terms of the percentage change. For a broker, you recapitalize from 40 million to 200 million naira. For a dealer, if you don't want to be a broker but want to just be a dealer, you have to recapitalize from 30 million naira to 100 million naira. For an issuing house, it is to recapitalize from 150 million to 200 million. An underwriter is to recapitalize from 100 million naira to 200 million naira. A trustee, 40 million to 30 million. A rating agency, we also have for fund managers. Fund manager is to recapitalize from 20 million to 150 million naira. For registrar, 50 million to 150 million naira. For a corporate investment advisor, the company is to recapitalize from 5 million. Okay, rather that is unchanged. Really, is not being affected in this. For the individual advisor, it is to recapitalize from 500,000 naira to 2 million naira. Emeka, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of these figures?
Yeah, these are the figures of our regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission. These figures came out in December of 2013, and for some of them, we look at it, and we've been trying to engage with SEC because we have concerns over them. The point that needs to be made is the fact that if a regulator brings out a policy, there are ways of going through ensuring that policy is implemented, and we've been trying to engage with our regulators, even though we have not made too much of a lot of success along those lines, but we will not stop the engagement. We're also doing all that we can to ensure that our members understand what the issues are. For example, next week we have a workshop that will deal with mergers and acquisitions as an option to meeting this deadline, and we are working with the regulators. All the concerns that we have listed them out as far as this policy is concerned, and we have sent to the regulators. Unfortunately, we have not had the kind of responses that we expected, because for policies like these are critical policies because it has to do with businesses, it has to do with the lives of people. Earlier on I was talking about a situation where the federal government is looking at policies that would create jobs. Policies like this are likely to run counter to the goals of the federal government, because if companies do not meet this deadline, like you quoted the DG of SEC saying that that date is sacrosanct, what does it mean? It means that people are going to be thrown out of job. Okay, so we are talking about the level of unemployment in this country today. Do we need to add to it? Which is why it is important that we still sit down. These policies can be looked at, can be reviewed, and can be worked out in such a way that the collateral damage will be at the barest minimum. And that's why we continuously ask that we'll sit down, enter into very serious engagements so that we can look at how these policies, because as an operator, you cannot stop your regulator from making policies. Well, that's not what we're talking about, but we're saying these policies that are out there, the normal process is for policies like this to go through an exposure draft, get all the stakeholders who are concerned to make their own input, and we sit down and work out something. At the end of the day, we are critical stakeholders in the capital market, and we want the capital market to work.
Okay. Now, before this was released, this list and the requirements were released, weren't there any form of engagement with the stakeholders?
Let me take that. if there was, I won't be saying what I'm saying. Because there needs to be proper engagement. You need to get people to make an input, and when those inputs are made, the general international best practice is for you to look at those inputs and see how you can tweak the policy, because we are the operators, we are the people who are who run this policy, and we know where the shoe pinches. Okay. And so when we make recommendations, it is looked at and either reviewed or refined in such a way that at the end of the day, because the market is not just about regulators. The market is not just about operators. All of us must work, which is why we have the CMC anyway. Because what do we do at the CMC? For example, all those master plans, the committees are populated by operators, alongside with the regulators. What are we trying to do there? We're trying to fashion out policies, processes, programs that we think that will run to make the capital market better than it is today.
All right, let me come to Akin because of our time. How do your members feel at this time? We have just 3 months or so to this deadline. What are they telling you?
Well, we're always in consultation with our members, and like the Emeka said, there's a workshop coming up very soon to look at the various options that are available. Because we just have 3 months to go. Our members are a little bit edgy. Some of them are edgy about it. But like I said, there's various options that we're looking at which will be made available to them before the deadline of 31st December. But generally the mood is a little bit very poor. The brokers are just coming out of the woods, 2008, 2009, 2010, the meltdown that happened, which affected them too. So if you now just push them straight into this recapitalization position too, they'll be a little bit edgy.
All right, Emeka, would you prefer or would you want the SEC to shift this date to enable the operators meet this deadline, or to recapitalize now?
I don't know whether it just has to do with the dates. I think it's a total thing, which is why the kind of engagement we're looking for is what we need to be going through, because at the end of the day, like I keep saying, it is our market. Our market must get better, and so it's, I don't know whether it just has to do with date. The date is part of it, the numbers are part of it, what are the fine details. We remember we have had the capitalization of the banking sector. We need to learn from them.
Or you think that the amount is too much?
I'm saying those are all the. It's not just about amount. It's not just about dates. Okay. It is a total review that we are asking for. Let us look at the number. We are talking about also risk, because when you are dealing with amount, you are dealing with risk. What kind of risk am I carrying? Is this company carrying? Is it adequate? Is it excessive? It's a total thing.
Some people are talking about merging. I don't know if that would apply.
That's why we're talking about
your members.
That's why we're going to have a workshop on Thursday on mergers and acquisition for all of our members. We're going to sit down for the whole day and work out and look at the options that mergers and acquisition as an option.
Okay, I know that this is an issue we'll definitely get back to as developments unfold, as issues are raised going forward. Thank you, gentlemen. We have to leave it at this point. We have to close the show. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Emeka Madubike is the chairman of the Association of Stockbroking Houses of Nigeria, and Akin Akiridolu Ali is the general secretary of the same association. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. We do appreciate the time with us.
Thank you.
And that'll be it here on Business Morning. We do appreciate the time as well with us viewers for also sitting and watching the program. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I am Bolaji Akiwale. News Track is up next.